Battlegrounds Podcast. I'm Tim Catania.
I'm David Johnson.
Hey, kind of special episode for you guys.
We do. Very special.
The title probably revealed it.
It did.
So, anyway, that'll be later in the show. But if you didn't read the title, it's a mystery. All right. So, David, let's jump into news.
All right, let's jump into news.
What you got?
Very short on the news, and this week we have the devlog update for the patch that actually went out today as of recording. Most of us should already have it. I'm going to hit it real quick. On the client performance side, they improved the performance by reducing effects played excessively during vehicle crashes. So that sounds like, just client-side stuff with vehicles smashing together. Server performance, they include improved performance on the server in relation to vehicles. That might be... I've noticed lately that when we're driving, kind of across maps, some vehicles literally fall from the sky, and I don't remember seeing that before, but I could have just not been paying attention. But that could be related to that.
Yeah.
They may have figured out that they don't need to actually spawn the vehicles until people are within sight of them or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how
some
things
sort of
work.
dev magic that we don't understand.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's it for those two. And then for bug fixes, there's about 12. I'm going to hit the 3 that stand out the most. They fixed a bug that caused a player to die without entering the revive state when being shot by a shotgun or a full auto weapon in duo or squad modes. Now, our buddy Jacko had been experiencing this quite a lot.
Yeah.
Mostly due to his need to run off and be a lone wolf. But we're not going to hold that against him because apparently there was a bug that was dampening our abilities to get to him before he actually died. So
yeah, that happened to me too.
Yeah, it did
a few times, and I was like, man, I feel like I went down quick.
Right.
And yeah, that was apparently why.
So it's not you.
So
it's not
fixed.
just you and Jacko. So it's fixed.
Yeah, we thought we were cursed.
But you could still have been.
We made that wish with the monkey paw to be better at this game, and this is what happened.
The next bug that I would like to point out is they partially fixed a bug that caused a player to, quote, die from falling after getting stuck in buildings or vehicles. Now, partially fixed, so you could still run into it, but it sounds like obviously they're aware of it and they're trying to completely eradicate it, but it could just be a little more stubborn than they thought.
They probably just we fixed the one bug that caused most of this, but it's probably still going to happen.
Right.
I mean, that's, likely. That's cool though. Good.
It's very good. It's. I've watched some GIFs this week of people being stuck in various elements of the terrain, and it's quite hilarious, but probably frustrating.
It's kind of funny, usually, for me anyway.
It's very funny. If it happened to me, I'd be ticked, but also be cracking up. So it's like, I could only be as mad as it was unfunny, and it's probably pretty
It's
funny.
only as mad you can only be as mad as you are where you are in the game. If it's the top 2, then you have a right to be very mad.
38, I'm gonna be like, all right, well.
I'm trying to Steam return it, even though I put 20-something hours into it.
Oh, man. So, and the last one is they fixed a bug that caused a player to go back into the revive state when 2 players start the revive action and 1 cancels. So, basically, if 2 of your buddies, the way I'm reading this, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're down and me and another player run up to try and revive you, we're both holding the revive button and then one walks away, the other guy's revive will continue throughout that process, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, the way they fixed it?
Yeah.
So I had never seen the bug, but I imagine it was, hey, we both did this. I'm a millisecond behind you.
Right.
And so after you got that guy up, I hit cancel and it knocked him back down again.
Right.
That's what I'm imagining that means.
Right.
Good. That's a good fix. The revive stuff is iffy at best. You should be able to hold the button to revive. It's not super clear. You have to tap it. But it reminds me of
Oh, wait, you just have to tap it?
I think you just tap it once.
Oh,
I've had trouble where if I held it, it didn't work. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they did. Maybe that is the case.
Nick could just be tapping. Yeah, correct us on that one. I do want to say, not really related to a bug fix per se, but just a question for you, just something we could talk about for a second, since this is going to be a lighter episode on our side. So on the bug fixes and server fixes for vehicles crashing, how much of that do you want to go away and how much of that do you want to stay? Like the videos and GIFs of vehicles just flying through the air. I don't know how much I want that to go away, because it's kind of fantastic.
I want the vehicles to work in such a way that I can plan to do dumb things in the car.
Okay, that's fair.
So I don't mind it flying and flipping through the air because I took the hill too fast. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's when you hit that's a speed bump. And now suddenly I'm going back in time, Back to the Future, flipping through the air and can't
88 backflips in 1 second, and you're
it's just, and then I'm back in time.
There's 100 people alive still.
It's really weird. Michael J. Fox is there. He's shooting me with a shotgun. It's terrifying.
The Libyans finally got Doc. It's terrible.
We're stuck on an island. I would watch. I
would watch Battle Royale to the future.
Oh man, that would be so good.
So I think I agree with you. I want to be able to kind of plan it. I don't want it to go away completely, but maybe whenever vehicles collide, I still think it should be an element of, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, so for example, me accidentally running the motorcycle into the tire of your buggy and blaming you first off, and then also flipping your buggy and my motorcycle was totally fine. I was like, that seems unlikely.
At least that was the motorbike. That thing apparently is untippable.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty
That
great.
thing's the best.
So that's pretty much it for the devlog update for this week, for this episode. So get out there and hopefully run into a few less bugs.
Yeah, sounds like a good way to go. So you played a Reddit custom game this week.
I did. I got to play with
How was that?
With old Noodle Arms. It was great.
I want to call him Old Noodle Arms from now on.
Old Noodle Arms.
Because it depends on if you put a dash there or if you're like old.
It's
like
old.
O-L
It's like OL apostrophe. Old Noodle Arms.
If it was Old-Noodle Arms, then I feel really bad for him.
Well, if it was Old Noodle Arms, those would be equally as impressive because old noodles are hard, dude. You could stab somebody with those. Like, that's just as dangerous.
Are you saying that if in prison you smuggled a bunch of noodles out in your mouth and you spit them out in your room, in your cell, and you shape them into a knife, you could make a knife? Because I think that's what you're saying.
A noodle knife, yes, I am.
Yeah. That's a pro tip if you guys go to prison.
I am positive.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Well, podcast
it's over. Sorry, guys. 4 episodes.
It was a good ride, everybody. I guess we can never get to the part of the podcast you're probably listening for.
Yeah, so we played we actually played 2 custom games. We were hoping to get in 3, but they apparently, the caster that was basically were the announcer for the match, like kind of overviewing everything and calling stuff out, could not do a 3rd game. So the first one that we played, it was an 8-man squad. It was snipers only, and we came in like 8th place, but that's out of, I think, 16 teams. Not terrible.
Not too bad.
That one was fun. We dropped in Pachinki along with some other people, but I think since so many of us dropped, they must have gone away because we never really saw anybody in the town. The challenge was actually finding enough guns because while it was snipers and probably the drop percentage was higher, it still wasn't like every house has a gun because it's still a rare drop. So it was like every 4th or 5th house. So by the end of it, I think one of the guys actually had to drop his secondary sniper rifle for the last squad mate who couldn't find anything. Not a big deal, but obviously 8 of us could not find one weapon apiece.
That's pretty interesting, though.
Quite. It was very interesting. It was fun. It got hectic as the circle got small, which is when we basically all died because there was no safe place to get because everyone just was chilling on the edges, waiting for people to run. It was very fun, though, and all those dudes that we played with in our squad were quite nice. Just to go in a little bit about the process of how that works, because this was my first custom match, is Reddit has a Reddit Discord, and you pop in there and you get to actually vote on the upcoming custom match. They usually give you 2 or 3 choices of what it might be. I actually did not see what the choices were for this one. Noodle just kind of was like, hey, get in here. We're about to get it. And he actually gave me the password. I got in that way. But basically they kind of dole out the password, and then everyone just loads custom match and clicks that server and tries to get in while there's still room. And then you just jump in a squad that has space. The second time we did it, they let us hop into specific custom voice rooms on their Discord. And then the admin just jumped into the chat, the voice Discord of each squad, and gave them the password verbally. And then at the end, they threw it in the chat for good measure. But I kind of like that better. I think that was better for them because I think they were having some issues with people who had been waiting and then people who had last minute jumped in or something. I'm not quite sure why they decided to change it up, but I think they're still experimenting with how to do this. But I preferred that more. And I did get to vote on the second round. One of the modes was shotguns only and no vehicles. I don't remember the third one, so I apologize. And then I believe it was assault rifles, but no, very limited ammo. And the one that actually won was pistols only, no vehicles, and 6-man squad. And
nice.
We actually won this one.
That's awesome.
It was very cool. All those guys that we played with were super nice, very funny. Sounded like that wasn't their first match before. I know Noodles played one or two before. So that was my second custom match. And yeah, we pulled a win. We got chicken dinner. So it was fun.
That's awesome.
Pistols.
That's really cool.
Pistols only is really cool because you don't have to, you can just run across the field and be
probably not get killed.
Yeah, 90% sure you're going to make it.
That's really cool.
It was cool.
Well, shout out to them for putting on a cool thing.
Yeah.
People to go and play. Maybe one day we'll get there. Maybe we'll have enough in the Discord that we can do our own custom matches.
That's right.
So tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
We only have one mode and it's pants only. So hope you guys are into that. So you want to go lead into the next part?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So we have a special surprise for you guys. Like I said, it's revealed in the title. We got Sammie Kang, the lead community manager at Bluehole and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, to give us an interview, chat with us for a little while. Tim couldn't make it, but I interviewed her. It actually went on for about 42 minutes. So we actually split it up into two parts. You're going to hear the first part in just a few minutes. It was really cool to chat with her, and we are very gracious that she gave us an hour of her time.
Yeah, she's very, very kind, and we really appreciate working with us being in such a different time zone as well, and just also being super cool to answer the questions we had. And so I guess that's coming up now.
That right now. So get to it, get listening, and we'll be back
with emails.
We'll be back with emails. All right, so I'm here with Sammie Kang, the lead community manager at Bluehole, the developer of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Is that right, Sammie?
Yes, that's right.
Awesome.
Hi, guys. It's very nice to meet you. My name is Sammie Kang. I'm the lead community manager for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I think you probably already know me if you're listening to this, but I work for the team to listen to our players, manage community programs, and work with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds partners to further enhance the game. And I'm involved in a lot of other things. I think it would be too long to cover what I do.
You're a busy lady.
Yes.
Yes. We get it. Awesome. Well, if you don't mind, I think we're just going to jump on in. We've kind of already hit question number one, which was, what's your role? Tell us a little bit about yourself. So I would like to know, I think our listeners will be interested, how did you get where you are, and what did that process look like?
Right. Okay. So I used to work for a PR firm and a crisis consulting firm many years ago.
Okay.
And I also had some clients that I worked for, and I was a social media manager as well. So I did a lot of things in the marketing and communications industry. And then after a few years, that was when social media started to grow. And companies started to realize that it's really important to listen to your customers. But since I was working in an agency, it was really difficult to, listen to people's feedback and to reflect that in any of the activities of my client, because there was so much gap between the customer's perception and what the company wants to do.
Right.
And as an agency, I was just the middleman, although I did my best to offer best communication and transparency to our customers and the influencers that I worked with back then for other consumer products. So I wanted to make big changes, but it was just impossible to do it in an agency.
Sure.
Then I started working for different clients, and then I started giving up on that big vision I had.
Right.
And then I looked around and thought I believe that I was a good communicator. So what can I do? What kind of a new career can I start if I'm a good communicator? And then I heard that there's a grad school for interpretation and translation, and then there are professional conference interpreters who do that and who do freelance gigs, and you get a lot of free time. So I thought going to grad school for that would be great. So I went to grad school, completed my degree, and then started working as a conference interpreter for an e-commerce company. And then this opportunity popped up. So I wanted to work in a company where I would be deeply involved in product development.
Sure.
So as an interpreter, I knew that I would be interpreting for PlayerUnknown and the developers in this organization. And then I knew that it was a small development team, that there could be opportunities to use my past experience from my PR and marketing career So I joined the team as an interpreter, and I was the dedicated interpreter for PlayerUnknown.
Cool.
And this was only about like a little bit over a year ago. So we had a team of like 20 developers. We started with 20 devs.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a small team. So I was the only interpreter in the team, and I'll translate everything for PlayerUnknown and our developers, engineers, game designers, and provide like simultaneous and consecutive interpretation for everyone. And then suddenly we realized that we need a community manager or someone to reach out to the Twitch streamers and players and people from Brandon's broader like Battle Royale community. If we are to conduct multiple pre-alpha, alpha tests, because we need people to test the game, and you can't just distribute keys and expect people to play. We need to, keep them informed and, start a community. And PlayerUnknown Brandon already had a good community, so we needed someone who will communicate with them. And I was already like in love with what I was doing, and I really started to fall in love with a lot of the Twitch streamers because I have so much respect for them for providing entertainment, creating content on a daily basis, and managing their personal community. And I know that it's a lot of stress. They expect so much from you sometimes, although they support you as well. It's a lot of stress to manage a community. And for like bigger influencers, they have community managers or agencies, but people who are really passionate about our game since pre-alpha were like smaller streamers who were just working on their own. And I was really deeply touched by how much they want to support us and how they're dedicated to their job as a streamer. So I volunteered to help with community management and tester community communication. So I was like, I can do both, be an interpreter as well as a temporary community manager. And, in our team, like authority is not given. You have to earn your position. You have to prove that you're capable. And that's what makes our team great, because we are almost like a flat organization. Everyone can provide feedback as long as they can back it up and prove that they can implement it and experiment with different stuff and just prove that they're able to reach the end goal. So it was a big challenge. But, since pre-alpha, I started working closely with streamers, and I learned a lot. It was so different from working for bloggers who review cosmetics or, contact beverages, because that's what my old clients were. So I learned a lot, and it was pretty tough because I don't see myself as a hardcore gamer. As someone who has been born and raised in Korea, games have been a huge part of my life, even though I don't play games a lot. Like StarCraft 1, that like dominated our country when I was in middle school. Yeah. And my brother is a huge like geek. He used to play games like 10 or 12 hours a day when he was in school. And all boys were like that when I was in middle school and high school. But it was hard for me to understand a lot of the gameplay mechanisms in the beginning, and I had to do a lot of research to understand terminology, to provide like good interpretation. Right. But I loved all the challenges, and I was deeply in love with a lot of the streamers and members of the community who just wanted to help us because they love Battle Royale, they love PlayerUnknown, they wanted to see the first standalone Battle Royale game take shape. Sure. So I worked really hard for many months, and I think it was only a few months ago that I was promoted and was given this title as a lead community manager.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's how I got here.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That's a neat, like, from where you started and then how you ended up where you are. Who would have known that you would have made the jump like that? It's one's almost like it's a little connected to the other, but not quite, connected to games exactly. So it's very different. It's very neat.
I do a lot of questions from members of the community that how they can get a job as a community manager and a game developer, and they know that I haven't been like a community manager for explore a game for a long time, they know that some of them know that this is my first experience.
Right.
So I'd say that for my case, it was very unique that I started as an interpreter and then, started to grow with the community and learned a lot. And, I built personal relationships with many of the people in the community, and that's how it all happened.
Yeah, that's awesome. So rolling right along, I think we kind of touched on this a little bit, but I guess how important do you feel the community's role is in making this particular gaming experience better? Do the streamers and everything, do you guys still take a lot of feedback from them? How does that process work exactly?
So Battlegrounds is the entire Battle Royale game mode is very unique because anyone can watch Battle Royale and understand what's going on.
Right.
You just need to know that the person or the streamer or YouTuber you're watching just needs to survive until the end unless they're playing a custom game mode. So it's really important to listen to both players and viewers. And we started doing that since pre-alpha because there are a lot of important key gameplay mechanisms such as the blue zone or, animations, and the degree of realism was also an important part of the game because you want to feel that you are actually fighting, trying to survive, but you don't want everything to slow you down, that it's just too tough for you to survive. So that you have to find the sweet spot. And that's when our testers' feedback came in. We did a lot of surveys. We were always active in Discord during pre-alpha and alpha. And we even conducted interviews with some of the hardcore BR players who have played Arma 3 BR and H1Z1 King of the Kill a lot. So we could get their detailed feedback on gunplay and other pieces that are crucial to Battle Royale.
Right.
And there were times when Tuner, our gunplay programmer, and I would schedule Skype interviews with some of the streamers that played VR game modes a lot, and we would ask for their specific feedback on how the gun feels and what their viewers tell them when they're streaming our game when it was still in alpha.
Right.
So Tuner used a lot of the feedback. It validated some of his directions and also gave some good insight into other gameplay components. And we also used the results of the survey we did after every alpha test to see if we're going to the right direction. And are people happy with the pace of the overall match? And do they want big changes in the core, gameplay components? So we use it a lot, and it really helped us validate the vision we had, as well as understand what our players, core players in the community, want to see in Battlegrounds that they didn't see in the other VR game modes.
Right.
So that helped us really shape the beta build. And during beta, we were able to get feedback from a bigger audience, which was very helpful. And then I started to be less involved in the feedback, iteration process after I started working on a lot of community programs. But we monitor feedback on a daily basis. There's a structured process for the game design team and the QA team to reflect feedback, but we watch YouTube, Twitch, and monitor Twitter to really capture the overall sentiment every time we do a weekly update.
Right, that's cool. It's neat to know that the community and the streamers kind of have a hand in shaping this game. Little by little. It's neat to see that take place, and it's a very positive thing, in my opinion, to see the developer taking notes and making meaningful changes based on those notes.
I think there are 3 stakeholder groups that are making this game. I think, first of all, it's PlayerUnknown. It's his basic game mode that we started building Battlegrounds on. So we just had the vision. But then we have our dev team who also has a vision as well. So that really was incorporated into his vision, and then Battlegrounds was completed. But it wouldn't be what it is without the tester community that helped us for almost a year in providing feedback and playing the game and creating content with it when it was in alpha and was a totally unfinished game.
Sure. So moving on, we love this game. The guys that listen to the podcast, we've got a Discord going and a group, and when we're not able to play it or we're at work, I know I'm constantly thinking about it, and we obviously have a podcast about it, and it's just always on our minds. So as someone who spends their whole day centered around different aspects of the game and really more its community, how often do you get to play? Or do you play?
I have to be completely honest with you. I am the worst Battlegrounds player of all time. I'm not even joking. People try to compete with me on Twitter whenever I say this. And they tell me, I got 0 kills in my last 10 matches, but I'm the worst player. And actually, I've been traumatized by many of my friends and my brother and my cousins, because since I was really little, we would always play games, and all the boys and men in the group would tell me Sammie should never play games with us, or I don't want to play this game because she sucks. Because I get really immersed. Right. So when I'm immersed, for some reason my brain doesn't work and I just panic a lot. I panic a lot. And, in Battlegrounds, I panic every minute. And it's really I just can't seem to think that it's only a game.
Right.
And
right.
whenever I hear a gunshot, it just scares the crap out of me and I can't do anything. So, but then I kind of want to be aggressive and get just 1 kill.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, and then I die after 30 seconds after trying to find someone. So that's that.
Okay. So, all right. So you're the best player at the game. We got it. All right.
But, with the recent development of the game and how our community is growing every day, have never had the chance to play it. Even when we do developer dev tournaments, I think we do it twice a month, because people would think that we would play other games during lunchtime.
No way. I don't think you have time.
Yeah, but when our devs want to just chill and relax, they play Battlegrounds. So,
I can understand that.
Yeah, I would think that people would believe that we're lying to promote our game, but it's fun that sometimes I want to shoot a video and show people how competitive they get. And sometimes we will, fight for a prize like a fried chicken or a beer. All the devs will compete. So I only just get to watch while I work on different plans or community programs, but I get to watch and spectate and walk around and see who's winning. And it gets really intense. So I've only been able to watch when our devs play.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Fair enough. So this has been a hotly debated topic, at least in our Discord. How do you pronounce PUBG as a word? How do you do it? We got to get an answer. Is it PUBG? Is it PUBG?
It is PUBG.
It's PUBG. Okay.
Yes.
All right. We have taken in our I believe someone on Reddit started it calling it Plunkbat. Have you heard that one?
Yeah.
That's kind of but that's my favorite. That's the one I choose to use. It's just classy. It's Plunkbat.
It is funny, but I started to see that a lot of content creators and our partners and people from companies that we work with started calling our game PUBG.
Okay.
But PUBG is the official.
That's the official. Yeah. All right. Well, we have a definitive answer, and I can run back and tell all of our Discord buddies that we have the answer. Okay, so PlayerUnknown and your team, the team at Bluehole, have made clearly a super successful game, especially for something in early access. So, what's it like working with PlayerUnknown himself and the team behind such a success?
Well, we don't see ourselves as a successful game yet. We did sell a lot of copies, but, we still need to finish the game, and we are committed to that. So we want to stay humble, and we will be the way we were since pre-alpha. And, I tell people in the community that I won't change personally. I will, stay the way I am and stay close to the community. But working with Brandon, it has been a very interesting journey. Like sometimes I like daydream about writing a book about it because it's so dynamic in the beginning when we had such a small team and everyone was really dedicated to making this first standalone Battle Royale game. But, there are a lot of challenges. Like our VP, executive producer, had this idea in mind that we have to conduct a lot of tests before the official alpha and beta.
Right.
And there are a lot of debates around it. Like if you take a look at the pre-alpha trailer and videos from other content creators when we lifted NDA, like it looks totally different. And we're not like confident about it. But what we valued more was that we need to, listen to the community. And that debate like still went on until like right before beta because you kind of feel like you want to delay this. So it's a little bit better than what it is now. But then you have this urgency to get people's feedback so you can meet that, goal you have set up. But like in all those debates, Brandon emphasized that we have to listen to the community, and to listen to the community, you have to conduct tests and see how they feel when they play the game. And he has been managing his Valorant community with a lot of volunteers and active members in the community for the last few years. So he knows more than any of the developers in the team that what the core fans want. So he's like the official representative of the Valorant community.
Right. And
that was, very interesting. It's because it's something that you don't see in the development of other products.
Right,
so
yeah, for sure.
It's very rare to have a lot of enthusiastic supporters of the game and who are just willing to take their time, provide feedback, or, offer you any help when we couldn't pay them, right? We had a lot of teachers that help us. And I think Brandon was the reason a lot of people had respect for Brandon and they wanted to support Brandon make his own game with the support of Bluehole.
Right.
All right. What a great interview. We hope you really enjoyed it. Check back next week for the second half, and we'll probably do a similar episode to this. So we're going to actually jump into emails. If you want to send an email, you can send it to mail@dropzonecast.com. That's mail@dropzonecast.com, and we'll read it on air.
That's right.
David, you want to take the first one?
Yeah, I'll take the first one. This is our recurring section, Wes's Gaming Minute. Wes sent us one of our first emails, and he sent a ton of questions. So we're still picking that one clean. I think we're almost done with it. So if you got more you want to shoot us our way, Wes, do it. So the first one is, why do I always think I'll knock down that fence and then I can't drive through it? Which is a very valid question.
This was a running theme in his email. He was very upset about the fences. It was hilarious. Yeah. That's a good question, Wes. I think it's because
they're your natural predator.
Yeah. It's the circle of life, buddy. You got to accept it,
Fences are out for you.
There's always someone bigger than you, and it's bigger than you is this fence. Yeah. This white picket fence you hit with a Jeep.
This shin-high fence. Fences are an issue that it's almost like the car thing though. I don't know if I want it to go away. It is kind of crazy that sometimes the cars will get stuck on them and your car will blow up, but also it's still kind of funny. So it hasn't gotten old for me, but it also hasn't happened to me much.
It's a feature. Those fences were booby trapped. You should have known better.
That's right.
They go 18 feet underground in order to support them from the Jeep hitting them at that speed.
It runs all the way to the bunkers. It's a conspiracy. But
like if you were in a tornado a la Twister and you had a belt and you were Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, you could attach to that fence and you would be fine.
Oh man. Yeah. So
I like that. I hope that at least 10% of the audience knows what I'm talking about.
That's probably a good percentage guess there.
All right, what's that a second one? I'm going to read it. Let's see. We haven't seen much as far as clothing cosmetics. And obviously, this is a stealth game where having a neon Budweiser sign on your back, as cool as it may be, bro, is a huge disadvantage. What kind of items would you like to be able to wear? That's a good question. I think that this game has kind of a different aesthetic than, per se, H1Z1, which has like
Right.
people with like mohawks and you know, bright neon shirts. And it's not that I'm against that stuff, but I do think that keeping it a little more serious with the stuff would be cool. I think maybe like partnering with like Twitch streamers so they can give out their logo to put on your shirt, kind of make it look faded or something, so it's not super obvious. I think doing that would be good. I would love to have a Drop Zone shirt or something,
That'd be cool.
or hat.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to be able to like, or work with Steam Workshop and let people build their own stuff.
That'd be pretty cool.
And I mean, of course they'd have to vet it, but I don't see why it would be a huge deal to have some cosmetics that were custom made for communities. And maybe that could be part of the custom game requirements. I mean,
I want some stupid, they could still be faded, but like there should be like a small percentage of dumb items, like dumb cosmetics
I want
that they
that
let
Pringles,
through.
man.
I know, like a Pringles. It's just a big. Yeah, what if you could just get all the masks from Point Break, the old president's masks, and just roll around as a squad like that? That would be kind of cool.
That'd be real.
The trade-off would be you're not allowed to have a helmet. Like that should be it. It's that or the helmet.
Listen, hashtag president masks at PlayerUnknown'sBattlegrounds.
At Tuner
Battlegrounds.
and PlayerUnknown'sBattlegrounds. Do that.
Tell TuneDev this needs to happen. And if he hasn't seen the movie, please send him as many copies as possible.
Yeah.
Find his address. Don't do that.
Don't
harass this
hashtag
man.
Founding Father Squad. Let's do it. But yeah, I think that'd be
I'd play
silly.
that.
I would play it, dude. That'd be real dumb. Like even if that was just in custom matches, I just want to see it. I want to see somebody
Abraham Lincoln
batting around people with a pan as Richard Nixon. Like that is what I need.
In a Nixon voice pack. Let's not stop there.
Oh man. Okay. Well, now we failed, but we have to keep just tweeting nonstop until we get.
Just please tweet hashtag Nixon voice pack to.
Oh man. So yeah, I think that's kind of our answer. Just off the top of my head, I think on the beach there should be some in lieu of like chest armor, you should be able to get a rubber ducky float and be able to swim a little faster or something stupid across the water. That'd be silly. But yeah, I would have to agree that I don't want to get crazy like a neon sign like he's saying, but there's definitely some kind of aesthetic that fits with the overall player backgrounds motif that would work
For sure. All right. So you're reading Dan.
Yeah, you take
so
Chase.
I'm going to go ahead and take Chase. Chase, Amped, AMPD from Discord. What is your furthest confirmed kill? I'll let you take yours, David.
Okay, so mine is solo 289 meters, duo 231 meters, and squad 274. Now, I do want to say that all of those are definitely multiple shots and not one-shot kills.
Yeah, still.
But still, this is not bad.
That's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into into mine. Solo is 98 meters.
Not bad.
So not good.
Well.
Duo is 105. A little better. Squad is 28.
Squad is, this guy is touching my elbow. I'm going to shoot him.
I think there's someone here, and he's holding the gun to his head. Yeah,
tossing the grenade back
like,
and forth like
I feel like
hot
that 28 meters is definitely wrong, if we're being honest.
when I saw it, I was like, he's killed someone from further away.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, or maybe I just hit them and you've killed them. Who knows?
Who knows?
But for sure, I've at least downed the guy that was down already from that far away. The guy who can't run away in squad. So who knows?
Who knows?
Anyway, my furthest confirmed kill is not very far to answer your question.
That's all right. We can work on that. That's what this game's all about, getting better.
Nope, I'm blind as a bat.
Well,
We've already talked
technically,
about this on the
stats have
show.
reset, so I'm assuming none of that matters anymore.
Zero.
Zero is
Zero
the actual
now.
answer. All right, so I'm going to take this one. This one's a little long, so bear with us. It's from Dan via email. So he says, "Hey, Drop Zone, I enjoyed your podcast thus far. I am not much for introductions, so let's get into the badassery of PUBG. Plunkbat, sorry. Plunkbat has hooked me more than any game since Halo CE. One of the things that immediately struck me is how I do not feel frustration when killed in the game. There are always simple explanations for why I did not win the gunfight. Either the enemy is a better shot than me, I need to use better tactics, he or she was lucky and found better loot than me, etc. Whether I die the first 2 minutes of the game or make it to the top 3, it is an insanely intense experience. The amount of adrenaline that I have pumped in this game could probably be bottled and sold. My heart beats out of my chest constantly. I agree with you there, especially those smaller circles.
For sure.
As a 30-year-old with a wife and 3 small kids, I'm not able to devote hardcore amounts of time to level up characters and be competitive in games such as Destiny, Call of Duty, Battlefield, etc. However, I can definitely squeeze in an occasional hour of insanity and plunk bat due to the ease of access. The fresh start at the beginning of every game gives me the hope and confidence that you have a fighting chance to win. Amazing.
Let's stop there, and we'll just answer that. We'll talk about that real quick. I relate 100% with this. His first statement about not feeling like you... sometimes I'm frustrated, right? Sometimes stuff happens. I'm like, I don't know where that guy was.
Right.
That's frustrating. But that's just a reminder that I need to be more patient and slow down a little bit and check that building instead of just running past, or listen to the sounds of the battlefield and not run in the direction of the shooting just because the circle's closing in. Maybe be a little more strategic and take some pills and try to work my way around it and hope it works out. So I 100% agree with that statement, that it doesn't feel like a punishment when you lose.
Right, yeah, definitely. It's almost always something that I sit there and look at and like, all right, what did I do that got me killed that I can hopefully avoid next time?
Yeah, and then his other statement about not having a lot of time, that's me 100%. I have a 2-year-old. He goes to sleep at normal time usually, but it's still, I've got to take care of other life stuff when he's down. So me to get a game in an hour or two a week is really good. And so I love the fact that I'm not having to hustle and grind my character up the levels to keep up with the rest of the Discord.
Right.
I can just jump in. I may not necessarily be as practiced as you guys, but at least I can still jump in and have a good time. And new weapons, you guys can tell me about them when we can work this out, because we're starting from scratch.
Right.
I love it.
And you're not getting let. Yeah, I like that too. You're not getting left behind. One of the things that you mentioned about Destiny in particular, I picked up Destiny right when it came out, but didn't have a lot of time to play it as much as the friends that I did have playing Xbox at the time. And I did basically experience that of just either they had a full squad or I could never play when they played, and kind of fell off of it. So I did get back into it, and I enjoyed it once Taken King stuff came out. But this is not a Destiny podcast. I do like the fact, like you said, that everyone's on the same playing field every time. You land and you're all scrambling, and then as you find better weapons, the skill starts to show a little more, but it's still who's got the better advantage, who's got the better ground, or something like that, or just plain luck sometimes.
Yeah, very true. All right.
So I'm going to hit the rest of this. Bluehole should probably put me on payroll for the amount of recruiting that I'm doing for this game. And I never recruit. It has gotten to the point where I tell everyone that I know about it, even if they are a filthy casual mobile gamer. I might have an addiction, but I'm okay with that. There are times that I sit down with my Xbox One controller and look at my huge backlog. Nope, I'm going to play Plunk Bat instead. Other times, I'm sitting at my desk at home and should be thinking about productivity. Nope, I'm going to look at Plunk Bat articles. Anyway, back to the podcast. I think you guys are great. Thank you. But you need to relax a bit. Duly noted. I can tell that you are concerned about perception, etc., but you have personalities that will shine. I like the idea of reading listener emails. That is good for new conversation starters. Have you thought about possibly streaming yourselves, playing duos, or uploading clips on YouTube and Twitch? Another thing that I noticed is that you guys don't swear. Is that to draw young listeners, or do you not partake in nasty language at all? I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah, let's go ahead and break that down real quick.
I do want to hit the first thing. Actually, I'm going to hit YouTube and Twitch. We actually have a YouTube channel now. Basically, we were kind of creating that when you sent the email, and we have Twitch, and anytime that we're playing squads or duos, as long as everybody's cool with it, we usually try and stream, and then at the end or the next day, I'll clip that and try and hit any funny moments that I remember, and then throw the entirety of it up on YouTube as well. So we got you covered there. I already answered that one.
Go check it out. Yeah, we're not great. So
no, you can see some mediocre play.
Everybody in the Discord is good, but you and I aren't. I think you might actually
I'm
be getting
slowly getting
towards
better,
good.
man. I've gotten us, speaking of playing recently, I've gotten us to the top 3 and number 2 spot multiple times last night. So I'm getting better.
That's pretty good.
Of course, stats while recording, but
of course.
So you want to take the next one?
Sure. So I think he talked about relaxing a little bit. I think it's honestly just growing pains of a podcast, because the second episode we came in, it was like, hey, we actually have listeners. Now I'm nervous, but
right.
I am feeling a lot more confident. And now that I've gotten to talk to you guys, I know.
Yeah, I was going to say it helps getting to talk to everyone.
Who's listening. So come join us in the Discord if you want to hang out some. It has been beneficial to me and been very fun. So he had a question. The last thing here he said was, another thing that I noticed is that you guys don't swear. Is that to draw young listeners, or do you partake in nasty language at all? I just wanted to repeat that just so we could take that two parts there.
Right.
So to me, I mean, we probably both have different reasons. The first thing is it's habit, because we did a podcast before with a guy who is a pastor. So we were trying to keep the language at a minimum. And it was never necessarily like stringent that we couldn't say anything, but we were like PG-13.
Right.
And we never did. It was just easier to practice not. The thing for me, personal choice here, is that I have a young child. And I know one day he might be curious what dad did when he was a little younger, and he might come back and listen, and I want to be a good example for him. It's not that I necessarily have anything against cursing as much as I want my kid to be a better man than I am. And I feel like if I can set a good example now in the things that I'm doing that are going to be recorded, then maybe that'll be something that he can grow to achieve. And then the other thing is I don't curse around the house if I can help it. It's not that I've never cursed or don't curse. It's just I have to be in good practice because I have a young kid who repeats every single thing I said. So he's picking up literally everything. He was saying, "Oh man," the other day, and I'm like, "Man, I don't know where you learned that." He was just saying, "Oh man,"
he's just worried a lot.
Yeah, he was cracking me up, and it was for no reason. So that's really when the when I noticed it was such a big deal. And I do think there's a little bit of the explicit tag on iTunes. There's not a lot of podcasts you can listen to in the car with your kids,
right?
And so to me, that's also a benefit to the audience, I think, to where if you're like, driving your kids home from school and you want to listen to something, you don't have to worry about at least, not much lange from us.
We might talk about murder and fools, but
well, yeah, I mean, but everyone's cool with murder. This is America. But anyway, those are my reasons. I don't know if you have anything different to add there, Dave.
Not really. Honestly, most of it is just out of habit of doing Unpitchable for so long, and just it wasn't too hard not to curse. It's more of I do it if other people are doing it, and that's not to say I jump on the bandwagon. It's just I know they're okay with it, so I don't have to filter myself.
Yeah.
And so doing it with you, I know you're not going to, so I just try and watch out what I'm saying. That being said, it's probably going to happen. I did read off his line entirely. I didn't edit that. But also just...
it's what he wrote, and it's not explicit, so...
if you really want to... I don't really have a viewpoint on it. I just try and be wary of what other people prefer or don't prefer, and I don't want to be annoying to them if they're not into it. So... if they ask me or they express that they don't really care for that, then I try and watch it as much as I can. It's still going to happen, but at least on the podcast, I can pretty much 100% filter it and not really have to think about it. The other thing I would say is if you catch us on Twitch or YouTube, you're going to hear me curse because I'm playing the game. I'm not thinking about it. And I also it's a different beast. So
yeah, here's the thing. We're also playing with other people who have different viewpoints on that kind of stuff than I necessarily do.
Right.
Like I said, this is for practice for me. So I appreciate you, first off, doing the podcast without necessarily getting into too much cursing or anything like that. I appreciate it because it helps me practice with the kid.
Sure.
That's a personal level thing. But also, when we get on Twitch and we're streaming, it's just people having fun and playing. And there shouldn't be... at least I don't think a requirement against that. That just doesn't make sense.
Right.
We're playing and having fun, and I don't want to ruin the fun because of that. And it's not like I said, not that I have necessarily a problem with it. It's just trying to have good habits for my kid.
Sure.
So that's not saying that anybody who curses in the Discord should stop, for sure.
No,
just
not
do
at
what
all.
You want.
Do what you want.
I don't want to push anything.
We like you
personal
how you are.
On anybody here. Yeah, this is not the point of not cursing on this show. It's more of just, again, personal choice. And so feel free to do what you want as long as it's not hate speech or being a terrible person.
Right.
And we'll call you on it.
Yes, we will. For sure.
Because it's not tolerated. But other than that, like I said, if you jump on Twitch and YouTube, the explicit warning.
It's there.
You got it just now. But, it is what it is.
So it was a great question. We appreciate it. It's funny that you noticed at all, honestly. I think you're the first one to point it out. Probably not the first to notice, though.
The only other reason I can think of is Drew Scanlon on Giant Bombcast never cursed on the show, and the reason why he did is because he wanted to be more eloquent, and I think that has some value.
Yep.
If I practice it here, I'm going to practice it at work,
right?
And so it helps me to be a better professional.
For sure. I like Drew a lot, and he definitely comes across that way. Just to round out the email and finish it up. He says, apologies for being long-winded. I will continue listening and try to give as much feedback as possible. If you ever need another squad member, hit me up on Steam. He also has a quick question we're going to hit super fast. He says, what are the specs of the rigs you two are using? Also, how's your performance? You don't have to answer on the cast, but I'm curious. He says he's packing a 6600K. I'm assuming that's an i5, i6, i7. I don't know. I don't know about computers. GTX 1060.
He has $6,600,000 in his computer.
A 1060 GTX, 16 gigabytes of 3200 RAM, and he's running off an SSD. He said, I'm getting solid frame rates between 70 and 80, but the North America server has been giving me pretty rough lag. Bluehole seems to be addressing it fairly quickly, but I've also ventured into the Asian servers on occasion where the North American servers are jacked. I'll be joining your Discord server ASAP. Thanks for the show, Dan.
I don't know who you are in the Discord, Dan.
Yeah.
Reach out to me.
Yeah, identify yourself, sir.
Tell us who you are, Dan.
Speak up now. For rigs, I'll get into mine real quick. I've got an i7 7700. I've got a liquid cooler. It's an all-in-one, so it's not like a big tank. It's just all contained. It's a Kraken. I have an Asus Z270 motherboard. I've got two 8 gigabytes, so 16 gig RAM, 240 gig SSD. I have two 1 terabyte hard drives and a 1080. I just recently built my gaming computer. It's the first one I've had. And when we were making Christmas wish lists and stuff this past 2016, my wife was like, we'll get you what you can and we'll get the rest as we go. And we were very much of the mindset of, we'd rather build one and not have to build one for a long time. So we just kind of went high end as we could.
That's a good rig.
I love it.
Mine is an old mop bucket that I poured some Kang in and I threw a video card in it and I shook it up and then it just works. It's magic. It's like magic. I sacrificed Tiger over top of my computer and it's I have a voodoo card from the 1990s in this that the Tiger blood really enhanced the speed. No, I have a oh man, I'll see if I can remember what it is. It's a Radeon R9 290X. It was top of the line when I got it. SSD, standard, stuff like that, 16 gig of RAM. And I have an AMD 8530, I can't remember exactly. It's an FX something or other. It's pretty fast. It's got 8 cores. It works. I mean, the game seems to run fine, other than lag from my internet being slow. It's fine. Yeah, so I don't actually know. What if I told you that? What if I told you I have an E-machine?
So that's pretty much it for this episode. Join us next week for episode 2.
Yeah, so email us if you have an email. That's mail@dropzonecast.com. With your questions, comments, concerns, we want to hear from you. So also rate and review and subscribe on iTunes. It's super helpful. We've already gotten a few more reviews, and we just love to hear what you guys think about the podcast. And if you jump in the Discord, come hang out with us. We'd love that too. And it's at discord.dropzonecast.com, or you can find the link on the dropzonecast.com on the sidebar under Discord. I think that is it. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you. And I'm Tim Catania.
I'm David Johnson. Special thanks to Stairwave on YouTube for the intro music. You can find more of his music here. We've got a link in the show notes for his YouTube, and also he makes videos. So thank you so much for that. And until next time, we'll see you. Actually, wait. One important thing. I want to get this out before the interview on episode 5 because it's special, near and dear to my heart. If everyone could tweet at TunerDev on Twitter and ask for the next vehicle to be a jet ski. Use the hashtag motorcycle of the sea.
Motorcycle of the sea.
And use that hashtag and use the hashtag we want jet skis.
We so boys, blow them up.
Blow them up. TunerDev. Very serious. Do that for real. I can't tell you where that inside information comes from, but that's how I've heard to ask for things. Not that it's going to happen, but it doesn't hurt.
Please make it happen. Tell all your friends. Tell Reddit. Tell the world.
Tell everybody.
Please make this
hashtag
happen.
Motorcycle of the Sea. Do it.
Motorcycle of the Sea. And also, we want to be able to do sick tricks like, what's it called on Nintendo 64?
Wave Race.
Wave Race 64 is what I want to recreate and plunk that.
So,
all right. Until next time.
I'm David Johnson.
I'm Tim Catania.
See?
We did it.
We did it. Pan it up.
Aroo, winner, chicken dinner.